So, you know, as well as imparting techniques, you know, like there was, you know, Bianca, Laurie, Rick, Joe, and also, you know, this was like a wealth of experience of artists or people that have manoeuvred, you know, within, you know, the so-called art discourse or the art world and stuff like that. So at different times, you know, I have spoken probably with everyone, you know, in some kind of form or way. Like with Will in particular, you know, like for him today to show me where he's at, it's just magnificent to show the thing, to show that, you know, there are ripples that are continuing from the initial pebble that was dropped, you know, in the ocean, you know, as well. And the wonderful thing is sort of engaging with, I think it's Sylvie? You know, she's a young Torres Strait Island artist, and just to talk to her about where she has positioned herself, you know, in relation to what's happening, you know, within her world, within the Torres Strait Island world, which is kind of very, you know, patriarchal in that, you know, there is only space for minimal practitioners, you know, to be, well, this is the way she put it, you know, to be, you know, on the surface, and you know, it's quite enlightening actually, you know, to look at others' perceptions of where they're at and what they're doing. But I'd like to think that you know, everyone sort of came away with something. I mean, one of the most exciting things for me, you know, I still smile and giggle about it, was Colin. I mean, Colin is a street artist. He basically busks with his art from what he was telling me, you know. And but he was incredibly smart, and he knows how everything is positioned in his world, you know. And you know, one of the major things was, how do you evaluate, you know, the art or what you do? And you know, it's a discussion that it could have gone on for the whole week basically. But it was quite insightful, was where he was at. But he created this remarkable kangaroo that he did not want to leave hanging there. It went with him into his room and into his bed, and I was just so moved by that, you know, which is why I chuckle and smile when I think about that. But you know, it's little things like that, you know, where you don't know the kind of impact that engaging with each other have had, sort of thing. You know, perhaps, you know, next year, 3 years from now, those artists that was on this camp, you know, their artwork will reflect with what had happened, maybe.
Can I just say something quickly?
Oh, you got one. That'll be louder.
As Joe was saying, I went to the first camp with Judy, and just before I went, I was actually really, really sick, and I had pleurisy, and I was like, I can't go. And Mum and Dad were like, oh, you gotta go, and you know, we'll come over and pick you up if we need to. And anyway, so I went over, and I like felt better kind of instantly, just like being by the salt water and the sun. And anyway, that was like when I like got to firstly really like connect with Judy, and yeah, spent the week hanging out with Judy, and then we just became great friends. And like Gordy was just saying, like the pebble dropping in the ocean. Judy and I just kept in contact and hung out when I'd see her and stuff, and she always like kept up to date with what I was working on. And then she got the commission to do the tow row out the front of Goma, and I had the honour of working on that with her. So, and that was like a relationship that came from the artist camp. So, and that'll probably be like maybe one of the biggest projects I'll work on in my life. But like, you know, but it was pretty cool. Like, because I haven't even, I was like, oh, one day I'll get into that gallery, but I'm in a bronze sculpture out the front of it that's going to live there now. So.
Like you're in there at the moment, are you?
And I just want to say quickly, saying that artist camp really
So I went 2015, was it, or 16? Were you?
15.
15, Fiona
Fiona.
Foley. Just completely changed my life. I think I said to Joe when you came to my house, I didn't even know why you came over. I said, oh no, those camps aren't for people like me.
Yes, I had to commit. You'll
Yeah.
be surprised how many people I've had either crying or telling me they're not good enough to go to camp. And
Yeah.
the first thing I learned about working with Judy was that you can put all of that aside and everyone's the same, the equal, and when you come onto that
It's a
space.
very culturally safe place to be together,
And that you have like all this talent inside you, but then somebody believes in you and like in that safe nurturing space, and then like whatever can happen, and it happens. So
It's like when you got off the boat, there was an ego box there. And you put it in there.
You should have had that. Hey, tomorrow night. What's happening tomorrow night?
Oh,
Liv?
yeah.
I've got my first solo show at Redlands Gallery. It starts at 6:30. I'll see you there.
And then what later in the year?
I've just been invited to Berlin and I'm showing the work. And the exhibition that runs for 6 months, so you've got plenty of time to get over there.
And a couple of our other participants from the artist camp from Quantico are seeing the country tomorrow night too.
Yeah.
Michael and Darlene and who else?
You?
Gordy's opening.
Sorry,
the
Gordon.
show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm officiated.
Can't believe it.
And it looks beautiful, it looks so stunning.
Can't wait. Did you have any last comments, Susan?
In relation to your question about the impact, I think the exhibition and all coming together will bring that as well through, and I guess like Lee said, one of the key things is the strong networks we form as well through that time together, and also I think in terms of taking from this camp, using Rick and Laurie and Gordy's workshops were really inspiring, and the materials, for example, Rick climbing around and cutting himself to bits and top up, and I mainly go through swamps and collect freshwater reeds for regenerating our Quantico weaving with our Quantico women, and also walk on beach or country. But seeing him, I've got this incredible urge to start working with the he's pretty strong at ripping it out though, isn't he, that cotton tree?
Yeah.
But I thought maybe work with other fibres as well.
I think one of the primary things is that we encourage everyone basically to have fun, to enjoy what you do and have fun as well. And Rick's workshop was, it was quite a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed just being involved.
So much knowledge
Yeah.
too, as well as fun and humour.
Was there any other comments or participants or anybody? That was an awesome question, thank you. Maybe this Joe,
Coming in on that boat, any industry people, did you know what was going on?
I thought that was really
It was
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, the canoe coming up and just that performance
Setting the
element
scene.
was really set the mood for the whole day.
Did you enjoy the day?
Yeah.
The welcoming committee on the beach, were they welcoming?
I don't know. Splash in the eye.
It's nice.
Let's see.
I was worried the boat was
You've
going to
been
tip over.
every year.
I have been
Yeah.
every year. Yeah.
Have you noticed anything?
It's growing. It's getting better. Everyone. There's still that energy and that excitement of when people come to the island and you get to show off what you've been working on. But I think it's growing, Joe.
Yeah, I think we got full agency, people coming into our space. So, yeah, there's so much we could talk about, but again, some of the stuff that happens on camp stays on camp. Was there any other comments or ideas since this year? Did you want to
Finish with your thought?
Thank you. I was one of the artists that needed convincing to go because I didn't think I was an artist because I was a writer. And I said, how is that an artist? They can paint and sculpt and do all these things. And I write. And I'm just so thankful that Joe encouraged me to go. And when you ask what happens on camp, I honestly came back a different person. I came back with a strength and a confidence. And when I wrote that piece, I wasn't even planning on writing a piece. I woke up early in the morning, we're in dorms, I'm on the bottom bunk, I've grabbed my torch and I'm scribbling down all the other girls that are asleep. And it was part of being on the island when something can just come out of nothing. And I heard the words strength and dignity, and I saw a possum skin cloak wrapping around me, and I grabbed my pen and I wrote all those words. Now, I've got a manuscript that's going to publishing in 2 weeks, and I have edited and edited and edited and edited and edited. This is the first time in my life where I've had words that have just come so clearly. And I wrote this piece, and it had a rawness and a power that I don't even feel like it belongs to me because it just arrived, and I wrote it down, and I was the instrument that wrote it down. And I know it would not have happened if I wasn't on camp with the people we were with, and learning, connecting to country, but also getting our hands dirty and involved in making, doing traditional ochre painting, stenciling and spraying that ochre out of your mouth and doing all that kind of stuff that just completely changed me. And that was the first time I actually stood up and talked to that many people. And I love how Joe quietly supports you and you want to extend yourself. There's not many people who can do that. Some people come with a different mode and put pressure on you. She doesn't. She quietly supports you, and you realise that, hey, I'm actually standing by myself. Oh, at some point, Joe stopped supporting me physically. I'm standing here in front of all these people and I'm able to do what I was doing. And I just say, Joe, there's not many people in the world who are like that, so just really want to honour you for your ability to make each one of us and each one of the artists that went there connected that way and felt that way. That was a privilege to be on there, and also just be able to perform those words to them. Thank you, Leslie. I want to say a heartfelt thank you, Angela, for having us. We are actually going to be showcasing outside in the natural environment. I'm looking at all these walls here. We're not doing it this year, so look out for us and all the marketing that we'd love you to come and see some of the outcomes and keep watching these artists. They're going to grow like you wouldn't believe. And you are going to do bigger things, I see.
Well,
thank you.
And just to kind of, some final remarks from us, Amanda and I just coordinated a First Nations forum for artists from Southeast Queensland North, so Redlands, Noosa, Sunshine Coast, Moreton, Gympie, Somerset. I think they're the 6, Amanda. I don't think I missed any. Yep. And we just spent some time over at Strutty and talked about what's happening in the industry and regional arts, particularly for First Nations artists. We had Joe present about the camp. We had Delvine, who's been on the camp. Amanda was there, who'd been on the camp. Jason Murphy was there, who'd been on the camp. And all of the people that got together enjoyed our forum, which was a camp without it being about artistic outcomes. The commitment that the people who put it on was to run an artist camp for those artists in Southeast Queensland North. So the work that Joe has been doing, excuse me, has travelled, and all of those artists who have participated from those regions and the strong feelings and emotions that they've had about the outcomes and how good that is has transferred across from down Southeast Queensland up the coast to Southeast Queensland North. and we're looking to have an artist camp for those artists next May at Woodford. So you've done an amazing job, and we're looking forward to kind of working closely with you on bringing a similar model to those artists as well. So testament to the work you've done. Thank you to Griffith for having us this evening. The Indigenous Art Program's up until July 31, shameless plug for us. We've got an exhibition on the 27th of July at Open House, our new retail and gallery space in West End. We just had Delvine's on Saturday night. So yeah, just keep an eye out on some of the stuff we're doing as well. So thank you all. Cheers.
Seeing Country at Redlands Art Gallery, if you're free, Bill.
What time?
6 o'clock. And there's a late boat back to Australia if you want to make a video.
You're right, thank you.